for those stories. Let's now begin our very first conversation for tonight, everyone. Yesterday, we had the governor of Bauchi State, who is equally the PDP governorship candidate in the Bauchi governorship race. He spoke at length about the state of affairs in the state and the state of security, and his ambition and a manifesto going into the election of Saturday. Tonight, we'll be speaking to the APC governorship candidate in Bauchi, who is a former Chief of Air Staff, Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who joins us live from Bauchi. Thank you so much, Marshal, for joining us tonight, and it's good to have you on the program. Let me start by asking you, as an opposition in Bauchi politics, how is the race going? What are the possibilities and the potential of your party, knowing full well that your party couldn't win Bauchi State in the presidential race?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think we are doing very well. The APC is doing extremely well in Bauchi. Yes, we did not win overall in the presidential, but I think if you look at the votes, we are talking of over 40% of the votes we won about 40% of the votes for the APC in the presidential race. So, but currently, like I said, our situation is, we are doing very well. We have visited all the local governments, and it's very clear that the people are fed up with the PDP government because the government has failed, to provide, to bring about the required changes that the government promised in 2019. And that's, this is a government that is not paying salaries. This is a government that is spending over close to about 9 billion to build an office for the governor, while you have 1.4 million out-of-school children. This is a government that is spending 9 billion to build an official, an office accommodation, when you have 1,549 women dying during birth for every 100,000 births. So, the scenario is set, for the PDP to actually vacate the office come on the 18th of March. So what the governor is worried about is we are challenging those issues. Why has he failed in the last 3 years to pay salaries? Why is he not paying pensioners? Why is he allowing 1,549 women to die for every 100,000 births? These are the fundamental issues. And the governor has tried as much as possible, unfortunately, him being the security officer of the state, to create insecurity. Wherever we go, especially at least in two local governments, his own hometown in Duguri, that's in Alkaleri local government, and then his party's, PDP party's chairman hometown in Akuyam, we were attacked. The last one was in Duguri, where some of our security agents, those that were with us, were injured. About 3 of them were admitted at the teaching hospital in Bauchi. They underwent surgery in order to remove some of the, in order to address the problems, or the injuries that they sustained. So clearly, PDP has failed in Bauchi State, and I'm sure that by the special grace of God, we are going to take over government in Bauchi State and will change the narratives of Bauchi State, God willing.
All right. So I will come to some of it, because you are touched on the issue of security, which interestingly, it was almost in the same manner when I was speaking with the governor yesterday. He delved also into the area of security without being prompted. It does mean that security is a major issue. We will get there in just a moment. But you, all your life, you've been a military man. You've been in khaki. You've been in a war front. You've been leading troops. I'm just looking at how swift you were able to change from being a man who takes and gives orders to now a man who subjects himself to a democratic process. How easy has it been for that switch?
I think it has been fairly easy. As military officers, we do not just learn about fighting war. The military profession is not just about fighting war. We attend colleges, like the Armed Forces Command and Staff College in Jaji. I attended the National War College, which is not dealing with just war issues, but those factors that generate insecurity that ultimately leads to war. So actually, it has not been difficult for one to really move from the military. Yes, the military is, you have a regimented kind of life, but here we are trained actually, even in the War College, to be able to accommodate different views, to interact with people, dialogue, reconcile people, and so on. So I think it has not been difficult for me to really fit in. I had the opportunity to teach at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, and I had the opportunity to teach in the National Defense College. So these are not issues that are really too difficult. There's interrelationship between the political side and the military side. There's relationship between economy and security. There's relationship between politics and security. These are issues we have been dealing with even at the Command and Staff College level, not to talk of the National War College level. So it has been very, very easy for me, no problems at all.
Have you always wanted to become governor of Bauchi State?
Not at all. Surprisingly, I left the Air Force, and shortly after, my people were coming to me, and they were asking me to come and really be part of the process, because the situation in Bauchi is really, really horrible. In Bauchi town itself, I visited quite a number of primary schools where I saw pupils sitting down on the floor. This is not something I'm used to. In the Air Force, you visit all our schools. I mean, children are, in their classes, not more than 30 in a class, and every child has a table, has a seat, and that was the kind of school I also attended. But unfortunately, we have leaders that are not responsive to the needs of society. And I think they are in that process generating internal security crisis even for the country. So it is really sad. Like I said, you look at all the statistics for Bauchi State, very appalling statistics. You have 29.9% net attendance in schools, which means virtually nobody is going to school. And that is not surprising, because if you look at the infrastructure, it's not there. There are no teachers. There are schools where you have only one teacher, who is the headmaster, the teacher, the man teaching English, the teacher that is teaching maths, just one person. So how would people attend? And you have people that are seated there that are supposed to really provide solutions to these problems. But unfortunately, the PDP government in Bauchi State has totally failed. And it is sad.
So you retired from the force, having spent the best part of your military career serving the nation, but this is what your opposition thinks. They think that you retired, and you are tired actually. You spend your active years as a military man, and that the energy that you would have used in governing the people of Bauchi State is not there. Those are the words, and those are the criticism coming from your opponent. How do you convince Nigerians and Bauchi people tonight that you are really deserving of their vote to lead them, having retired? Your opponent said you are tired already.
Shewan, I'm not tired. I'm retired but not tired. I can tell you that. The governor himself is older than me. We're in the same secondary school with him, 2 years ahead of me. So the issue of age, or the fact that I have been in the service, I have been a very active person right from time, and I am still extremely active. And I think that I have all it takes to really add value to society, add value to what is on ground. At least I will not be there in charge of Bauchi State, and then you have children in classes sitting on the floor. It will not happen. Similarly, I will not be there in government house. You'll have 1,549 women dying just because of lack of care. These are fundamentals. These are the issues that we should be really talking. But unfortunately, the governor is bringing other issues in order to distract the attention of the population. But the population is very familiar with all the issues that are supposed to be addressed, which he has failed to address. Issues like salary, payment of salary. There are people that have not been paid salary for 9 months, for 7 months, for 6 months, And, how do you explain that? Then you are now building an office that is worth about 9 billion. Meanwhile, you don't even have tables and chairs in your schools. And I think he is trying, all these insecurity issues that he's creating is to distract the minds of people from their main concern, which is development.
All right. So let me go into one area because I like to clear all of these controversies. Then we go into what your plans are in governing the people of Bauchi State. In fact, the governor yesterday had said that you are orchestrating the violence leading up to the election and during the campaigns, that you in fact had boasted in some quarters that you have been in the military and you have going to use the force of the military to deal with your opponent. Now, and he also said on the program yesterday that one of your members is now being declared wanted. The governor wrote a letter to the president informing him about this. He said he's worried about it, that everywhere you went, there was violence. Perhaps let me allow you to listen for yourself in case you did not watch yesterday. This is what Governor Bala Mohammed said yesterday. I'd like you to respond to him.
Well, I can see the use of violence as an obstacle, the militarization of the polity by the contestant from the APC, who is a former chief of air staff, who is using his military background to terrorize and even kill people in the various constituencies. On the facts, anywhere he went, 3 people were killed. And so in Akuyam, in Mr. Local Government, there were shootings and 2 people died. In Al-Galeri, my local government, 2 places, people were maimed, and in my village, 1 or 2 people died. And in Toro, there was a lot of gunshots when he was going around. What I'm saying, all the other candidates have gone around. I have been to all the local governments. I slept in every local government, and there was not any incident. During the campaign of the APC gubernatorial candidate, lives were lost and properties destroyed. And there were alleged shooting by some cyber military officers working with him, which we found very absurd and unbecoming. And of course, they have been invited to come and account for this. And that is why the police have declared one of his members wanted, because they believe they are above the law. They believe they can unleash terror on people. Definitely all this campaign of propaganda, or campaign of calumny will not serve him anything. Definitely, from all indications, he's the one planning thuggery and violence, and he's trying to just create a decoy so that people will think it's the PDP. If we had any history of violence, it would have been seen when we are campaigning. Why is it that it's only during his own campaign trail that you witness violence and all this unpleasant development?
All right, Marshal. Those are the words, and that was words of Governor Bala Mohammed, and those are the allegations and accusations he made yesterday on the program. How do you react to them?
We appear to have some technical problems.
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Now,
please go ahead. Yeah.
You see, Mr. I joined the Air Force for 42 years. I have been in the forefront of protecting the lives and properties of Nigerians for 42 years. Do you think it is at this tail end when I'm almost 60? I left home at the age of 19 to join the Air Force. And I spent the entire 41 years at least, fighting to protect the lives of Nigerians until I got to the highest position in the Air Force as the Chief of the Air Staff. And I'm sure your people have been covering our activities in the Air Force when I was the Chief of the Air Staff. It doesn't make sense for somebody who has spent this time to come and to come and then be creating problems in his own state. So when you look at the violence in Bauchi State, it only happened in 2 locations. One location is a town called Akuyam. Akuyam is the hometown of the PDP chairman. The second location is Duguri, which is the hometown of the governor. When we wanted to go to Akuyam, the PDP chairman organized tax And they tried to stop us. The first day I said, no, let's cool down, let's reorganize and then go in. See, the people want us to go and meet them. So we didn't even go the first day, but they smashed so many windscreens of the advanced party, the people that went there. PDP talks organized by the governor and his chairman, the PDP chairman, were the ones that attacked us. And in the process, we were told that there were some shootings took place. I don't know. I have not seen any report to say there was any shooting. There is no any investigation that has been carried out to say there was indeed shooting. These are just claims that the governor is making. The second place where there was shooting was his own hometown. I went to his hometown. Before then, there were all sorts of stories that the governor will ensure that I don't get to Duguri. I said, no, nobody can stop me from going anywhere. I visited 20 local governments. And in no local government, except these two locations, that we had any incident. He was talking about Toro, he was talking about Misau. All these are lies, absolute lies. So these two locations where this incident took place were really his hometown and the hometown of the PDP chairman. And they didn't want us to go there because they saw the level of acceptance. People were coming in their thousands in hot sun, waiting for us to arrive. And he didn't like that. So he decided that, look, we are not going to Akuyam, which is the PDP chairman's hometown. And we are not going to Duguri. Before coming to Duguri, we passed through so many towns and villages. Nobody shot anybody until we go to Duguri.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's continue our conversation with Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, a former Chief of Air Staff and the APC governorship candidate in Bauchi State. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Let's get to talking about your ambition. What exactly is the prompt or the inspiration for your ambition of wanting to become Bauchi governor?
Well, just before I go into that, I want to still complete what I was telling you with regards to the insecurity that was generated by the chief security officer of the state. That's the governor himself. Like I said, we visited 20 local governments, no security issues anywhere. The only time we had issue was in Akuyam, which is the hometown of the PDP chairman, which the PDP chairman with the governor organized thugs to attack us. And they claimed there were shootings and some people were injured. I don't know how true that is because no investigation, nothing has come out of it. Similarly, the second occasion was his hometown, Duguri. He has claimed and boasted that the APC campaign train will not get to his town. I said, no, we must go and campaign and try to win the hearts and minds of our people. Because certainly, even in his hometown, they know that he has failed. The schools are not functioning. There's no water. There's no potable water there. The youths are there, not employed. No skill acquisition program for the youths. No palliatives for the women. Everybody is suffering. So therefore, we decided that no, we must go around all the local governments and all the towns that we need to go to. And it was when we got there that he now organized thugs to attack us. We had finished. I walked about 150 meters, on my foot. I mean, I came out of the vehicle and was walking through the streets of the town. It was when we got to the podium to do the campaign that we started seeing people running from one direction. The next thing I saw was three of them that were shot. One was shot in his stomach. The second one was shot in his hand. The third one was shot in the leg and then the back. So we took them to the teaching hospital in Bauchi. These are things that can be verified, unlike his own claims. And I have on several occasions asked him to make a simple statement, which I have made severally. I have called on my supporters not to shed anybody's blood and not to take anybody's life, because I have been in the field of ensuring that the blood of innocent people is not shed and nobody's innocent life is taken. So it's easy for me to really fit into this. But he has failed. I have urged him, I have challenged him. Just come and make this simple statement that don't shed the blood of anybody, my supporters. Don't take the life of anybody. And I can tell you, that up till now, he has not picked that challenge. He cannot do it because he is actually out to create insecurity. And you can see it even from my own the press conference that I gave on this particular incident.
All right. So in all of this, let's get back to, I mean, if you have landed on that point that you wanted to make, or the governor has had his say yesterday, now you have had your reply. Let's get into why the people of Bauchi State should consider you as the best man for the job. And I asked you earlier, what was the inspiration for you wanting to become the governor of Bauchi State?
Okay, Sean, you see, I've been addressing internal security problems in Nigeria for almost 6 years as the chief of the air staff. And where the factors that generate internal security are actually at the lower level. Once you don't have schools, you have 1.4 million out-of-school children in Bauchi. These children in the next 20 years or in the next 15 years, where will they be? Probably some of them will be carrying AK-47 and they'll be on the road. I want to go back to where we are generating the insecurity issues and try to address them. And you must understand also, and I'm sure you know, that security and development are two sides of the same coin. In my National War College project, I wrote on Nigeria's internal security dilemma, a need for strategy change. And that strategy change is talking about paying special attention to social, economic, and political dimensions of security, not only physical security. Security is not only about bullets and bombs. So I have dealt with the issue at the level of the chief of the air staff, where we use, the definition of security from the fiscal perspective. I want to go back to my people, add value, get back those 1.4 million children back to school. There's absolutely no reason why those students, out of those students, there are lawyers, there are doctors, there are air marshals, there are generals, but they have shut down the schools.
But how do you, let's talk about, I mean, you've talked about your track record. Let's talk about how you hope to achieve it, because these are the practical steps. I like to talk about practical steps. I mean, a lot of people have ideas about the good things of life and how they wish it could happen. This is a generic manifesto or campaign agenda, but let's talk about the specifics. How do you hope, first and foremost, you talk about the classrooms, which you have criticized your opponent that is not dealing with. Give us an idea of how many classrooms are you hoping to fix within the first year? How much are you planning to spend? And what exactly are you doing to sustain that kind of development in the education sector? Let's start with that, for example.
Right. The major issue is about transparency and accountability in resource management. The resources coming to Bauchi State and what is being generated internally, that is the internally generated revenue. And if we really look at the agricultural sector and really invest in agriculture, we are going to enhance the economy of the state. We'll have more resources to be able to actually deal with these issues. But what is happening now is there's total lack of transparency in governance in Bauchi State. The resources coming from the federal government, how are they utilized? You know, I just told you about an office that was initially, supposed to consume about 6 billion. It's now reviewed to about 9 billion. You know, and there's no transparency in the entire process.
What are you going to do differently? This matter of transparency is also, is a generic word. We're looking at what is in specific will be done. And I gave you a timeline, a template actually, within the first year, for example. How many schools are you hoping to fix? How many desks and chairs you said are not there? Are you hoping to put back in the classrooms? And how much will this cost you? Where is the money going to come from?
The money is going to come from the process. I mean, the money is going to come from what we are getting in the state as internal generated revenue and what we are getting from the federation allocation. If it is transparently used, that's why I'm telling you that the money is not utilized. And that's why they have abandoned everything. Even the civil service itself has virtually collapsed. The civil service is located now within the government house. The civil servants are not involved in the process of what is happening. So there is absolute lack of transparency. Even the payment of salary is a contractor that is paying salary. The State Ministry of Finance does not know how much is being paid. They don't know how much the contractor is being paid. They don't know who this contractor is. These are the fundamental issues that are making it extremely difficult for the governor to address the real needs of the people. When he came on board, he promised to pay salaries. He's not paying salaries now. He promised to pay pension. He's not paying pension. So once you can get a transparent process and you get the civil service functioning properly, I have managed men and resources in the Nigerian Air Force. The idea of just having a small kitchen cabinet within Government House to run the entire resources of the state will not translate into anything. And that is why we're having problems. You must allow the civil service to function.
Sorry, apologies. I keep cutting in because I wanted to get the people of Bauchi to get a specific mandate, promise from you so that you have something to look forward to. If you say that the government of the day is not doing something well, what would you do better? How do you hope to do it better? How are you different? And what are you going to be doing differently? And I've given an example of the school. You've moved to the issue of the civil service. In that regard, what are you going to do differently? In terms of transparent dealing of civil service structure in the state, how are you going to deal with that?
You see, the problem is get the civil service to become functional. Train civil servants. Because most of those guys that are in the, that's why I'm telling you that the civil service as the bureaucratic arm of the government has virtually collapsed. Nothing is going through them. The whole entire process is happening within Government House. And that is because people, the system does not want to show that it is transparent. Everything is just within the Government House, few individuals and the governor. And that is why I'm telling you that right now, nobody knows who is, the total amount for salary, they said is about 7 billion. But that is just what they are telling us. The civil service itself is not part of the process. They don't participate. They have a contractor that is handling this thing. And nobody knows how much the contractor is even paid and who that contractor is, working for. So first and foremost, get the civil service to function properly. If there is need for training, train those guys so that they will be part of the process and everything will be transparently done. And people will begin to understand that, yes, the resources coming to the state is channeled to where it's required. They are not able to do all these things, providing tables, chairs in schools, even in the state capital, simply because the resources that is supposed to go there is not going there. And who are those managing resources? Just few individuals.
All right.
This is what I'm saying. I need to look at the health sector. If you look at the health sector as well, recently, for days, there was no electricity even in the state, specialist hospital. When I was growing up, the hospital was called a general hospital. But what we had that time is far better than what we have today. Today, they are calling it specialists. But there's nothing specialist about it. Because the equipment is not there. Drugs are not there. There's no electricity even there.
All right. Hey, Masha, we need to wrap up now. And on a final note, can you tell the people of Bauchi State tonight and Nigerians, you've spoken about your track record and you've spoken about the things that you think are not right, but should you become the governor of Bauchi State? And I keep saying over the interviews I've been having with those who are running for governor in the different states, is that every state needs to have their own identity, just like every human being have their own distinct DNA. What kind of DNA would you like Bauchi to have? How would you like Bauchi to be noted or different from other states? What are you exporting out of Bauchi? What production should Bauchi be noted for? As a final word tonight.
Okay, like I said earlier, what I want to do is to first and foremost address those basic needs of society. Education. Education is the bedrock of every society. Get the educational system functioning. Make sure that those out-of-school children that are likely going to be mobilized for violence in the future are back into the classrooms. And we are going to do that using transparently using the resources allocated to the state and the one that we are generating internally. We are going to make sure that the civil service is actually playing the role it's supposed to play, a bureaucratic arm of government where all the processes will go. They will formulate policies, they will give us the policy, implement the policies, and then get the civil service functioning, send them for training. Most of them have not been trained. They don't even, most of the guys there are having difficulty even handling filing system. So get the system functioning and then come up with a very transparent government where people can see that they have the ownership of government. Government is about human beings. It's not about few individuals in government house. So you must create that sense of ownership of the state. And that is exactly what we are going to do. And we'll do it together with the people.
All right. Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, former Chief of Air Staff and the APC governorship candidate in Bauchi State. Thank you so much indeed for your time, and I wish you the very best on Saturday. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.